What's up, everybody? I'm coming at you from Jewel nightclub inside Aria on the Las Vegas Strip. I'm at the red carpet celebration for Goliath, the three-part documentary series about Wilt Chamberlain. I'm going to bring you a couple interviews from the red carpet, so let's have some fun tonight. Hello, how are you guys doing tonight? Good. Well, first of all, congratulations on the film. Let me just start. What do you hope people take away from this? What do you hope they learn?
I hope they get a little bit more about who Wilt Chamberlain really was. I think we're just stuck into two different things when it comes to Wilt. His off-court, shenanigans, and also how dominant he was as far as scoring. But there's a lot more layers to Wilt that a lot of people don't understand or know, and I think this film will really open up a lot of people's eyes and know a lot more about it.
You know, during this process, what made this the right team to tell this story? What convinced you guys that this team could tell it the right way?
Well, for me, I think it wasn't going to be sensationalized, so it wasn't just about, like I said, the things he did off the court and just scoring. I think this production team really wanted to get down and really explore the different layers that Wilt Chamberlain had, because he was a very complex individual and there were a lot of layers. So I think that this film's going to expose all of that.
You know, for people that might be a little bit younger like me, who didn't get the chance to see him play, what do you think is the biggest misconception? What do we not know about Wilt that we would have had we gone in to see him play?
Well, from a basketball perspective, I'm going to say a lot of people just thought he was just a dominant force down low, just dunking on people like crazy. But if you go back and look at a lot of his films on YouTube, things like that, he had an incredible 15, 16-foot shot outside of the key, which was just unstoppable. So people talk about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's skyhook. Well, Wilt Chamberlain had a heck of a 15-foot bank shot that was unstoppable. So I think a lot of people will see that.
My last question then is you know, I'm sure the filming process has been a while, and to get this to this point, now that we're here, it's ready to premiere. What's that feeling like to know that this story is going to be shared with the world now?
Well, I know I'm excited about it. I mean, you know, this guy's my family. He's been dear to my heart for years, so I'm just grateful that his story can be exposed and the younger generations can really see what he was all about. So I think it's phenomenal that we're able to do this.
I appreciate it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, guys.
I do one take, sir. Sure, I get you.
I appreciate it, man. What makes now a great time to tell the story? What about this team that you think came together that you think they could tell the story in the right way?
Well, first of all, the guy that's doing this whole thing is special, right? Kevin, he understands the game, and he's an artist. He's a creator. When I heard about him doing this, I was like, he's perfect for this, because he truly understands the art of just telling a story. You know, this man tells me all type of stories. You know, Kevin. So this story is great. It's great for Wilt and his legacy, right? A lot of people don't know a lot of things about him. It's like a myth. So hopefully this film will be able to educate people about how great he was, how special he was, and how a part of the culture of basketball he was. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited.
What do you hope people take away from this? What do you hope they come away feeling?
That Wilt was special. You know what I mean? Wilt was special, man. Wilt had his own lane, and he's done some really, really immortal things. And I think people need to see how special he was. You know, the way he played the game, you know, his length, how long he was, you know, they need to show him.
The way he played the game, the way he dealt with his life, the way he respected the game, and the way that it would never be a game when it comes to big men had it not been for Wilt Chamberlain, because he was the person who established what it meant to come as a man and understand that paint right there is yours. Nobody can disrespect that paint. Nobody can come in that paint without a problem. And Wilt did that. Game was changing right before our eyes. We know we never said no to Wilt, because Wilt wasn't going to shoot it 3 pointers.
Pee-wee, when did you first play him? When did you get on the court with Wilt?
When I was a month out of high school. We played the Pro All-Star game in Harlem. Walking in the project, said, "You want to play?" I said, "Yeah, I want to play." I said, "Against who?" They said, "The different." I said, "What's up?" But I played, and that's a major part of my legacy, because I was able to play that game and play well against the big difference. So when I went to junior college the next year, I used to have 40-some points a game. It was easy. and I just did it for the rest of my life. That's the kind of boost that came from playing against Wilt Chamberlain and watching Oscar Robertson, not me, the greatest point ever played the game in history. Tell me why, I don't know why on one side of what the NBA have, it should be Wilt Chamberlain, Oscar Robertson, the Big O. That's what it was.
That's what it was.
They held it down, trust me.
How much you had against Wilt?
No, I'm not gonna tell you.
Okay. 40, man. 40 and a half, man.
Just to try and ask you something you haven't been asked before.
Sure.
After seeing this film, what is something that you think people would be surprised about when they take away after watching this series?
Honestly, like who Wilt Chamberlain is as a person is something that we really get from this film, because I think that we see the numbers, we see the records, it's a bunch of black and white print, but you don't know who he is. And this documentary tells you who he is in his own voice, and that's just, it's a gift.
I know you've been asked this probably a million times here, but telling this story, especially to people who didn't get to see Wilt play, don't understand his story yet, what do you hope they learn? What do you hope they take away from an experience like this?
Shit, I've never seen Wilt play. What do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm about to learn too. I mean, I was just telling these guys that, I think it's important that we know our history of the game. I played 15 years in this league, come across a lot of legends, and I think I came across Wilt one time in my lifetime of being in this league, and you hear the stories about the 100-point game, but I'm here to learn more about who Wilt was as a person. So I'm excited to see this, and I think the kids should be excited to learn more about who Wilt was as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you. First of all, congratulations on
I
the
wish
film.
I had your hair. I'm missing
I do my best. What do you hope people take away from this film after they see it?
I think I want to go, holy shit, Chamberlain was one of the most amazing human beings to ever play a pro sport. Because he was mythical in a lot of ways, so far ahead of his time. I mean, great athlete in multiple sports. I mean, imagine going somewhere, everywhere you go, you're 1 foot above the crowd. And everybody's looking at you constantly. And while that seems great, you're always in the spotlight. It puts a lot of pressure in. But I think if people be surprised to see what he overcame in life. If you look at someone like him and go, how do your life must be easy because there's nothing you have to overcome.
What's one thing you think that people are going to find out about Wilt that they didn't know?
Oh, I think there'll be a lot.
And what's the best?
Well, I'm not going to surprise you. You gotta watch it.
What about this team made it the right time to tell the story?
Pardon?
What about this team made this the right time to tell the story? What came together?
Nothing in particular. It just, it hadn't been told, and like I said, Kevin and his team brought it to us, so very excited.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to meet you.
Thank you too.
Can I sneak in a question?
Of course. We're here for all the questions.
I appreciate it. Congratulations,
Thank you
gentlemen.
so much. Appreciate you.
Good to meet both of you.
Likewise.
Let me just start with the format, because I know early on there was talks about doing it as a feature film. Doing it now as a multi-part series here, can you talk about that decision and the benefits to being able to take your time a little bit more rather than rushing through things in like a 90-minute format?
Yeah, I do. To me, 3 hours is not enough. A 90-minute feature is just blatantly disrespectful. So we could have did way more and would have loved to. So it had to have been a series. And there's still so much more that we wanted to say, wanted to put in that didn't even make it into the project. So this 3 hours is jam-packed. There's no dead time on screen where you're not learning some new thing about Wilt and understanding why he is the fascinating new thing that he was.
Yeah, absolutely. It's impossible to tell, and we can't tell his whole life. That's not a thing that you can do. You can talk about a journey that he went on in life that covers the totality of that time, focusing in on important moments and incidents that reveal him as a man or a person, or the things you didn't understand, the pain that he went through as a kid that we didn't know about till his sisters told us, the things that happened in his childhood around dating and women that are so far from what we know from the myth-making that he participated in, the 20,000 women, that you see the 20,000 women in an entirely different light. You know, you couldn't do all of it in a movie. And really 3 hours probably, that's not enough time. But I'm so glad we had 3 hours.
Yeah, we'll take it.
You know, if I can ask, what do you hope, especially the younger generation, what they take away from this film? And what is this moment like when you've been working on a project and now it's about to be kind of released to the world and now people are going to kind of lay their eyes on it, form opinions, and really take in all the hard work that's been put in?
Well, starting with the latter from my end, it feels amazing. We've been working on this thing for about a year, and it's a passion project, it's a love project. We've gone through so many hurdles and trials and different challenges. So to overcome all of that and have the movie that we have on screen, we're beyond excited, beyond proud, and just humbled and happy, you know, by all of that.
On that score, I echo all of it. I want you to answer the other part of the question.
I forgot the first half.
Okay, I'll jump in on that. Okay, so the thing that there's one thing, which is hard to say, but there's one thing I would like people to take away from this. It's the exciting privilege and honor that we had to try to tell someone's story, and when in this case it was someone who felt that his story, despite lots of words and images around him, he felt like who he was as a person, essentially, had never been told correctly. It wounded him, and that hurt me because I identified with that. It would destroy me if I felt like people thought something about me that wasn't true. And he wanted this moment to happen. So for people to learn who he was as a human being and the pain below that, I think is important for him, he and his family. And for the people watching, what they could learn that they didn't know about is that everything you have right now, in terms of the NBA and a lot of culture and how power is wielded. I get asked about Damian Lillard all the time this week, right? Damian Lillard's doing a thing that Wilt Chamberlain invented. You know, as Kamal Bell says in the piece, like, there was no black 7-foot wealthy superstar basketball player. Wilt created the job. Shaq applied for that job. You know, all these people stood on the shoulders of this man who was called selfish and egotistical and not interested in others, and he elevated the boats of everybody, including some of the people standing in line with us, you know, in a way that he does not get credit for. And we should not forget that started with someone who had to see his own value and exercise power that made people uncomfortable when they didn't want him to do it in a Jim Crow era. The same types of things need to happen now. People need to exercise power that they may be told you don't have. You know, they need to understand, I have leverage because I have talent. And he understood that my singular talent makes me singularly powerful, and I can change things for me. And then everybody followed, including Bill Russell. Everybody got paid.
There's two quick things to add on importance. One, the title is Goliath, because he's perceived to be this machismo, strong, you know, bravado guy, but deep inside he was very sensitive, very emotional, and that's what makes him human and makes him relatable. So I want people to take away, he was a human being. He was not a Goliath, some superhero. And two, because of everything Chris said, in my opinion, when you get in the barbershop and you start talking about GOATs and greatest, that's a very difficult conversation, but what we can say about Wilt is he is the most important basketball player in the history of the game. And you can't have the history of basketball without Wilt Chamberlain being the most important person laying down the foundation. So those are the takeaways.
Is there